Chapter 1. The Void. Grace, Softness, and an Open Heart. Periodically, I'm reminded of the certainty of death and taxes, typically in a facetious manner. In a handful of those conversations, I listen as the rooms transform to empty stadiums, abrupt stops, and distinct inflections echo back, tuning out the other noise. I find this sweet, a moment of sincerity and vulnerability. I recognize previous versions of myself, unwilling to alchemize, seeking their respective annual dopamine in this hope. I can confirm there's truth to the sentiment. Death is inevitable. The rate at which we experience it may vary. I have become friends with death, transitioning from a relationship of fear to admiration and welcoming. I wasn't always this accepting in practice. Once upon a time, there existed a young child, unconfined by the world. He simply is. For his birthright has always been to experience and grow. For what is life, if not the shadow of death? And is a valley not the result of its weathering? The winds of erosion embrace this child intensely in his earlier days. Rooms filled with mysteries would become his home, where he would be expected to learn, he was taught to fail, and where he was to pray would have cursed ears. To him, this is existence. His circumstances are neither bad nor good. They simply are. Eventually, he begins to question their motives. If he can exist unapologetically, then surely others can. What happens when the spirit doesn't feel soul-led? Where does it come from? He is yet to figure this out. He does believe he can fix it. Love. If he were to make others feel seen, just as he has felt previously, then maybe the sun would shine again. Watch him test this theory. Hi, I'm Micah. I think you're super cool. I made you the... Oh. If one's actions disobeys their soul, despite his kind efforts, then what is he to do? It seems he's hit a wall. This wall glares at him. Little does he know, he's on the inside of a home we all congregate in. He denies his ego the satisfaction of defeat. His crown is heavy, yet empowering. He is to see, not change them. He is not their God. He would encounter a decade filled with disappointment, joy, community, and at the root of everything, love. Disappointment requires the betrayal of faith. Joy is an embrace from clarity. Finally, community cannot exist without sacrifice. He learned how to love and be loved. One last test would close this chapter. There would be a winter day, sitting at the closing of a semester's break. In the midst of a depressive episode, his body would crash. In a car ride to the hospital, he would gain a vision of his death. The scene, simple. A dead body surrounded by those whom he called family. This scene would reside in his mind for years, especially so for the next 3 weeks. During this period, his body would enter a coma-like state and suddenly cling to life, as if to exclaim, "Not yet." In the time he was fully conscious, panic attacks would flood his reality. He would alternate between fighting to stay in good spirit and surrendering to what was happening. This happened daily. In the midst, a quote from his grandmother who had cared for him remained. "Breathe in life, exhale fear." He would use this to gather enough strength to resume his college studies. Acquiescing his slightly later arrival for the semester, his goal was simple: make others feel seen and heard while lowering their suspicions. No one was to know what he was dealing with. He wanted no sympathy and no shortcuts. This would prolong his college experience by years, each year filled with lies in the form of excuses for failed obligations and niceness. I must apologize for all of these atrocities and to whom they may have affected. I do not seek forgiveness. I simply hold myself accountable. This will not happen again. This health journey wasn't all bad for this previous version of myself. Amongst the cloudiness, I experienced the unexpected. Sunshine, a feeling I hadn't felt in so long. The desire to live and thrive. I had spent so much time understanding others that deep down, I'd forgotten myself. But never again. Who was I? Outside of the expectations of others, the kind deeds I had done, and my accomplishments. I would discover this at my second college, once I was back to 100%. I am all. I am the path of all that is and to become. From the same consciousness that birthed everything we think we know, to all unknown, I exist without a need to be explained, only truly seen. I shall honor myself from this day on. I am void, not the absence of everything. The foundation.